Hi, K-12 physical science students. Welcome to my YouTube channel, guys, where guys will be looking at organic chemistry. Um, so on this video, guys, I'm just going to cover a quick introduction on organic chemistry. So there are three things which I'm going to cover on this video, which it will be what is organic chemistry. Number two, the origin of organic compounds, which is what we're going to be discussing largely on this topic of organic chemistry. And also we're going to also look at the importance of carbon, or why carbon it is so unique or so special on this topic. Now, let's get into it. What is organic chemistry? Now, it says here, originally the term referred to the chemistry of compounds found in living organisms. So the term originally it refers to the chemistry of compounds found in living organisms like plants, animals, and human, which consist mainly of carbon that is derived from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So originally, this was the term that was it was used to or the definition that was used to describe organic chemistry. So it was it was the chemistry of compounds found in living organisms. So and then that which consists of mainly of carbon derived from carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. But today, it is defined more broadly as the chemistry of carbon compounds. So nowadays, this is the chemistry of carbon compounds. So this is the main thing that we're going to be looking at, the carbon compounds. Now here it says, however, this specifically excludes, so we don't count in, this does not include also compounds like, for example, oxides. So what are oxides in this case? These are compounds. This is a chemical compound that contains at least one oxygen and one other element. Those are oxides. But specifically in this case, in this topic, we're referring to carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Those two are not part of the organic chemistry that we'll be studying here. And also other compounds which are also highlighted here is going to be also the carbonates. So what are carbonates? These are chemical compounds containing usually contain one carbon and three oxygens atom. So they contain those. So like for examples of carbonates, we can refer to calcium carbonate, we can refer to sodium carbonate, magnesium carbonate. So those one they have this form of carbonate. And also other compounds which are not also which are excluded in this topic or in this chemistry of carbon compound, it is what? It's cyanide. Now the cyanides are also not part of this. This is the compound whereby you can see that it's made up of carbon and nitrogen. So these are not part of our subject that we're going to be covering here. And then the main reason because that these they lack the ability of forming what continuous chains. So the inability of these compounds to form continuous chain, therefore it does not allow them. It's not part therefore of organic chemistry. Now let's move on now to part. So now that is how now we define chemistry, now organic chemistry in this case now in nowadays. Now let's move on now. We have covered the definition now. So let's look at the origin of organic compounds. Where are these compounds coming from? Already we've mentioned this is the chemistry of what? Of organic compounds or of carbon compounds. So where are these organic compounds coming from? So now the first source of these organic compound, it is what we call a photosynthesis. We all know photosynthesis. Yeah. So that is the first part of this topic. where it is derived. Okay, where and then now where is this now? How does this take place? Therefore, now green plants convert the radiant energy, carbon dioxide, and water into simple carbonates, which are called what? The glucose, and also what? And complex micromolecules like proteins and fat. So during a photosynthesis process, we know this. I think I've tried to show you a picture here of how this thing is happening there. Now, plants, they use the radiant energy that comes from the sun, and use carbon dioxide and water that come from the roots, and then and then this it get converted into carbohydrates, and then we take those carbohydrates, as we know, and then we digest or we eat that, and then in order for us to get energy, the proteins, and then the fats and all that are there. And then, and also, the other origin of this organic compound, it is also called what? The respiration. It's the respiration. Therefore, living organisms like humans, like in animals, exhale carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, and now that, and then from there is what? A recycling what? The carbon. So now, as human beings, we know already now that we exhale carbon dioxide, and then when it goes to the atmosphere, so it's a process that now the plants will take that carbon dioxide, and then they will use the carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere, and then combine it, taking it back to that process that we have already mentioned there at the top, and then photosynthesis, and then now we have the same carbohydrates that we're going to digest. So it is a continuous cycle that we have. So it is a continuous cycle. But but please take note that as much as carbon, it is the main source, or it is the main source of organic chemistry, but it is not an organic compound. It is not part of our study in the topic. Now, the other sources of organic compound is what we call the fossil fuel. So millions of years ago, dead plants and animals matter were buried under high pressure and temperature, and transforming into coal, as we can see, oil, and then we also have what? Natural gases, and then these are what? And these they are the major sources of carbon today. So the dead plants and the dead animals and everything that is buried underground. So all of us, we all go to the ground. Animals, limited, go to ground. So these, under high pressure and temperatures, they transform into coal, which is also used in electricity in our days to generate electricity. In so they use that. And also these, they transform into oil, which is the same oil that we're using. That is used to make petrol, 95 and all those things. So there is broken down to those into those type of fuels. And also we have natural gases, which are very important. Because they produce, about less than 50% of carbon dioxide, meaning they're not damaging the atmosphere. So which are used for heating and cooking. So the natural gases are part of this. So these are produced now nowadays, and then in large quantities, or the large source of carbon is nowadays. Now let's move on now to the next part. So these are the origin, and so these are origin of organic compounds. So it's photosynthesis, that's where they come from, and also the respiration, and also the fossil fuel. So that's where those are the large sources of organic compound. So now let's get into why is carbon atom special in this topic, because it's very important that we understand with it. Why is it so unique? Why carbon especially in this topic? So now let's get into that. We are saying now carbon is the foundation. It's the basis of organic chemistry. So we can't be talking of organic chemistry and we don't mention carbon. So it is the basis of organic chemistry because it is unique, because of its unique bonding capabilities. So we're gonna explain those capabilities. Why exactly is carbon so important? What are exactly the the capabilities that carbon it has? Number one. So now, because carbon is so special, number one, because of what? Of its valent electrons. So what are those valent electrons? Now, this says here, carbon, therefore, it has 4 valent electrons, allowing it to form 4 covalent bonds with other atoms. So carbon is so important that because on its usually on its atmos shell outside the carbon outside it. So there are these electrons that are the negative electrons in the carbon shell. So these electrons that are there in the atmosphere of the carbon. So these we call them as the 4 valent electrons. So this allows carbon to form 4 covalent bonds with other elements. So that is why carbon is also so special. And also, the carbon is so special because of its catenation. Catenation. So what is that? So it's very important to understand this. Carbon atom can bond with other carbon atoms can form with other atoms. To form long, stable chains or rings or branches. So they can bond with each other. Carbon, they can bond with each other. Carbon bonding to each other. So to form a long, stable chains. So that's why we call it a carbon to carbon linkage. So they are able to form these kind of bonds. Yeah, they are able to form these kind of bonds. So the longest chain they can go wire. They can go wire stable chains. So that's what it is. So that's what makes carbon to be also special. So not many atoms can do that. You must know that. Not many atoms can do that. So carbon, that's what makes it so special. So another important point that makes carbon to be special is what? It is the bond variety. Bond variety. So what is this for? What does this refer to? Carbon can form what? Single and double and triple bond with other carbon atoms. So what does this refer to? Now it tells us that therefore a carbon, they are able to form a single bond. Like here is what a single bond here at the top. I've shown you in the first diagram. Yeah, they can form a carbon. A carbon can form another bond. So there's a single bond between the 2 carbons. But there's also a variety in terms of bonds. So that means that we can also have 2 double bonds between carbon to carbon. They can be a double bond, or they can also be a triple bond between carbon to carbon. So that's what makes carbon to be special and unique in this case. And maybe lastly now here I'm going to discuss what and the bonding partners. So carbon also it has also the partners here. It has partners therefore. So the other partners of carbon, the carbon atom can form covalent bonds. Remember those bonds that we refer to? These are covalent bonds around the carbon. The 4 covalent bonds. You can form a covalent bond with other atoms, like what we can refer to hydrogen. So which we're gonna discuss. It gives us the hydrocarbons. So we're gonna get them hydrocarbons, and you can bond with also other compounds like oxygen, nitrogen, and the halogen. So that's what makes carbon to be more special in this topic. And then the other parts I'm not gonna cover them, but because they are not relevant in terms of you understanding what exactly we'll be covering. So these are the 4 points that I wish to cover on this introduction. So now I hope this is going to help you a lot now in understanding our next topic, and then as we proceed with our topic of organic chemistry. So now just wait and make sure that guys you like and subscribe and share this video with other students that might find this information more helpful to them. Thank you very much. See you on the next video where we'll be covering organic chemistry. Thank you.